Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're continuing the phenomenal series from Blobz, Oil and Water, although this time with a Kropki dot variant. Now, the series in general have been absolutely phenomenally rated. I don't think there's any that we have featured from the series that's lower than 88, 89% rating on Logic Masters Germany. But this is probably the highest rated from the series. It's at 95% at the time of recording. So we're clearly in for a treat. A word of warning, of course, is that this puzzle, it is another 2-star difficulty rated puzzle, thankfully not 3. And I'm really looking forward to what we have ahead of us. You can see kind of the reference to the Kropki here with, once again, we've got a thin oil slick there, refracting light, floating on top of water. But this time we've got styrofoams, well, it's got to be pollution really. Styrofoam spheres that are white. Perhaps somewhere behind that oil bowl is a black one, just to sort of show what Kropki dots could look like. Let's take a look at today's puzzle. So we're looking at Oil, Water, Kropki by Blobz, and the following set of rules. You're going to be familiar with pretty much all of them, but just the Oil and Water one definitely is worth a rethink. So first one, normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Pretty standard. There are only black dots here, no white dots, so terrible thumbnail. So the black dots separate 2 digits where one is double the other, and not all such dots are shown. So for example, if this was a 2, these would have to be, well, one cell has to be double the other, so that could be 1, as in 2, as in 1 times 2 is 2, or it could be 4, as in 2 times 2 is 4. That would be a valid pencil marking of this. What we can also do, according to the rules, is have another 2 in here, because these two being doubled one another doesn't actually matter. It doesn't require a black dot between them. We also have killer cage rules, so digits in cages must sum up to whatever the value is if given in the top left corner. We actually only have 4 cages that actually have a value. I think the other part that's quite important, because clearly is going to be part of the solve, is that it is unique digits. Digits in cages cannot repeat, well, in the same cage at least. So if this was a 2, this would have to be 8 or higher. Sorry, not 8 or higher, exactly 8 to make sure these 2 cells add up to 10. If that was a 2, that couldn't be a 2 because that wouldn't be unique digits in the cage. Let's see. Then lastly, we're onto the Oil and Water rule set. That's the whole reason we're continuing with this series. It is an absolutely phenomenal rule set, which is all about parity. So each cage is either full of oil. I'm going to use green for oil. So a cage could look as, I'm just taking a look. I'm going to use this cage. It can be entirely full of oil, green, and therefore it will be made up entirely of odd even digits, such as 2, 4, 6, or 8. That's one way. Another way is it could be entirely full of water, and that is meant to be odd digits, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Now, we can have a mix of oil and water, but number one, oil has to be on top. So something like this would work, where the oil is floating on top of the water in the cage. What you can't do is have water on top of oil, because everybody would know that water floats on top, oil floats on top of water. The other thing that we cannot do is have them mixed. So you cannot have oil and water in the same level, or in the same row in this particular grid, obviously. That wouldn't work. This would be a broken cage according to the rule set. So that's all the rules that we have for today. At 2-star difficulty rated, I'll be honest, I don't know if there's going to be an easier one in the series. I don't seem to remember there was any that were 1-star difficulty rated. But nevertheless, what I'll do is I'm going to put up a playlist up here. If you haven't played these rules before, have a look at that playlist. Find one that has the shorter video length than the one that we're about to solve right now. Give yourself a bit of a practice before you get going on this particular puzzle. So if you want to play along, if you want to see what Kropki dots are doing, or styrofoam spheres that are meant to be black, not white, are floating on top of oil, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I'm going to say it's clearly all about black Kropki dots today. It's in the name, and frankly, it's like almost the only clue that we have. Yes, 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 we have a handful of numbered cages, but none of them are forced. I mean, 20 cage could be entirely even, but I'm sure I can come up with ways where I do entirely odd. Yes, I can, and I can do one where it's a mixture. So none of these cages are forced. So I think it's worthwhile doing a quick revision of what black Kropki dots look like. There are not a lot of valid pairs when it comes to black Kropki dots, and I'm just looking for a bit of space where this would all be visible. Let's do down here. So you can do 1, 2, you could do 2, 4, and you could do 4, 8. The last pair that you can do is a 3, 6. This is all the valid pairs that we have in here. So every one of these pairs of cells are essentially one of these 4 options in some order. It could be, of course, 1, 2 or 2, 1. Now, what I'm looking at and I'm thinking is there is never a pair that is made up of entirely odd digits. There is always an even digit in here, always an even digit. And in particular, when they're on the same row, they've got to be both the same parity. So given they can't be both odd, they have to be both even. And we can start doing that for all of them. The only ones that are entirely even are 2, 4 and 4, 8. So we know that this is the composition of it, 2, 4, 8 with a definite 4. Same again in here. We can do the same here as well. This is again 2, 4, 8. Remember, oil floats on top of water. So this has to be oil. This has to be oil. And we can get going. I was so tempted to leave these for reference, but I think we need them. Right, so do 4, the 4 has to be here. So this is 2, 6, or 8. And I'm going to say with a definite 6, because the 6 is not pairing up with a 4 in here. We definitely have to have a 6 in there. Where am I going with this? So I should think out loud here. What I'm thinking is the only way you can make some that are both even is to have a 4. So whenever we have a 4 definitely within a box, row, or column, we can be absolutely confident that the other one is essentially a pair, as in they're mixed of oil and water. Hopefully that makes sense, because without a 4, even if you use 4, 8, for a second, the only 2 options are left are 1, 2 or 3, 6. If you use 2, 4, well, the 8 is not available anymore. 1, 2 is not available. It will only be 3, 6. So it has to be a mixture. And therefore, well, I guess no, this could be 4, couldn't it? That could be 4, and therefore this could be 2 or 8. So what happens with that? Oh, I'll tell you what happens. I forgot the absolute basics. We've got 4 evens in row 7. All of these now are odd. You always have to have an even. The odds are 1 and 3. The evens are 2 or 6. The odds are 1 or 3. The odds are 2 or 6. I meant to say that the other way around. You get my drift though. These two clearly cannot be both even, because that would mean 5 evens in row 8. There aren't that many even digits between 1 to 9. This is all odd. Carrying on in box 8, this is 4 odds. That can't be both odd. That would make it 6 odds. We don't have that many odd digits. They're both even. What else do we go? That is, of course, another 2, 4, 8 with a definite 4. Still don't know what this is. So, I mean, the only thing that I can kind of see is the 4s here line up, meaning that this is a mixed Kropki set. But that's not exactly helpful. It's sort of so far removed from everything else that I'm doing that I almost need to be a little bit closer to home at this point. Home being kind of the bottom half of the grid. And I'm just not seeing how do I go upwards from here. One thing I sort of forgot to do, and it's so obvious now that I pointed out, is this is odd. 13 cage can't be all evens. I need to have a single odd digit to make it all add up to an odd digit. They can be all odd, so this could be green or blue. 12 cage, they can't all be odd. I clearly need to have at least one even cell. That seems to be as far as I'm able to take it right now. Where am I missing? Both of these could be odd. Could both of them be even? What's the minimum? 2, 4, and 6 does add up to 12, so I can make this entirely even. And actually that would be fine. I'd have 4 in the column. So I'm not seeing the problem. How about 4 in this column? I mean, I'm missing total basics today. Right, that tells me that's odd, that's even. This is again another 1, 3. This is another 2, 6. Sorry, I'm a bit slower than usual today. What else am I not seeing? I mean, I know that at some point I'm going to have to start to differentiate these 1, 3s and 2, 6s. I was just hoping I'm not having to do it that soon. Am I going to have to think about the 10 cage already? Is that where this is leading me? Maybe. I'd love to know the composition of this. Is it entirely... Oh, hang on. So this is definitely even. Let's do that. That's 3 evens. Can't have 5 evens. That's odd. That's odd. And that's even. Looking a bit better now. That's 5 odds. This is all evens. That's 3 odds. Can't be all odd. There's at least 1 even. Nothing stops it from all being even, mind you. Thing is, there is at least another odd in here. I've already got 3 evens. Here's something. Classic Sudoku in a very strange way when applied to parity. This cell is odd because it sees all 4 even digits. This cell is odd because it sees all 4 even digits. So these are all odd. I now have 4 odds, mind you. So this is definitely even. That still could be odd because that could be my 5th. So one of these, they're mixed basically. There's 1 even, 1 odd in here. We've got, again, another 1 even, 1 odd. We've got 3 in here. Yeah, not sure about this now. This is useful. We've got 3 evens now. This is clearly both odd. This has to be even. We've got another 2, 6, 1, 3 set up. All of this now has to be water. We have 4 waters in column 5. So there's a maximum of 1 more in here. Now that's helpful because it tells me that this is not even. If that's even, all of these would be odd. And then I'd end up with 6 odds. So this is definitely odd. And therefore we've got, again, another 1, 3, 2, 6 pair. This is now a bit more helpful. That's 4, 8. This is, I'm guessing 2, 6. Yeah, 2, 6. Given the 2, 6 in here line up with this 4, 8. So I'm tempted to say this is odd. And I'm trying to figure out how to prove that. I may have to use labels to sort of demonstrate it, but I'm fairly sure this is odd. Essentially, We know that these three cells are different. And then we have, I think in my mind, two scenarios. Either this cell is different from this cell, in which case, no, I'm not sure about this actually. I still think I'm onto something. Anyway, four evens in this row, all of these are odd. Water floats on top, that is odd. Water floats on top, that is odd. I've got 5 odds, this is even. I have one of each in here. Unsure which is which right now, although I can be. Here's 4 evens. All of these are odd. Have to have an even on any black Kropki dot. This is another 1, 3, 2, 6 setup. That is now 5 odds. This is even. This is odd. We've got only 3 odds. We still need one more even in here, which can be this cell. It's just, I don't know. We've got 4 odds in here. So an absolute minimum, 2 of these are even. I still could have an odd in here. We've got 2. We need 2 more evens. Can I finish coloring this? Or do I need to start thinking about numbers a bit more than I have been? So close. Right, so what I am tempted to do now is to label these, and rather than replace the candidate numbers, kind of one of the suggestions from the regular viewers of the channel is actually just pencil mark letters to differentiate them. So I'm going to use B, D, F, and H for evens, A, E, C, G, and I for odds. I'm not necessarily going to use that many. What I really want to do, though, is disambiguate these 2 6s, because I think there is a break-in in here somewhere. So let's call this A, let's call this B. Therefore, we know that this is different. This is C, and therefore this is D. This B means this is C, this is D, this is B, this is A. Just using classic Sudoku to label all of these. This now has to be D because that's the B. This has to be the C. This is the A. Therefore, this is the B. This is a B now. Doesn't tell me. I'm going to have to sort of take a guess what this is. Let's just call it F. And then somewhere in here is an H. So let's think about what this cell is. It's not F, B, or D. It is the 4th digit. It is an H. And therefore it is not 2 or 6 because it can see B and D. So these are, so what am I missing? I'm missing the D. Therefore this is blue and this is D, which is 2, 6 or D. What are these cells? Don't know. H and D and B means this is whatever is left over, F. This is an even digit, but it's not B or D. I mean, we know it's 4, 8, but it could be either F or H. We don't know yet. So I'm sort of very tempted to think about this one right now. We know one of F or H is a 4. No, it feels a bit premature to try and cover this. You can see B has to be in here. This is B. This is another FH. Has to be a better way of disambiguating these. This is another FH. Just completing the row here. If I can disambiguate some of these, that would help. Right, let's think about this for a second. Can I color anything else in here? I'm not sure I can. I'm not seeing it. So the 10 cage, not solvable yet. D is not here. Here is something a little bit interesting. Just D is not there. D is therefore one of these two cells. D is here. Just Sudoku, kind of eliminating all the other options. This is D. What I liked about this is not D. This, therefore, is D. And therefore, this is not 2 or 6. It is 4 or 8, and it's another FH. This now is another FH. It's 4 or 8. So you can see now that this is starting to get very restricted. And I can already tell this is not an 8. Problem is I don't know what letter it is, so I don't want to go down this route yet. If this is an 8, both of these would have to be 1, 3, and it can't be. This cell is already seeing both 1, 3 and 1, 3 as a pair, and obviously you need a 4 in here plus the 8 to make 12. So whatever this cell is, it is a 4. I just don't know what letter it is just yet. Not entirely sure. I'm going to figure that out later because we've got this very weird grid going on. I need to figure out what this letter is to figure out what this letter is. Anyway, I want to move on from this. I want to think for a moment about the 13 cage. So this is now all odd digits. And I'm fairly sure this is actually going to give us our first number at minute 17. Goodness. The minimum without a 1 would be 3, 5, and 7, which is, you can see, is already too big. It is 15. So the 13 has to have a 1 in it, meaning that A, wherever A is, not many of them, is 3. And therefore B, wherever B is, oh, I really got so few of them. B, no more B's, is 6. C has to be 1. D's, whatever they are, have to be 2s. This is not a 2. Obviously by the fact it was F and this is H. This was a B as well. B was 2, wasn't it? No, B was 6. Just double check. Yeah, B was 6. Right. That's not a 6. That's a 6. This is now 2 or 8. D, you can see, is sort of lining up. And therefore, this is D. That's a 2. None of these are a 2. They are both 4 8s. This is H. This is F. F. This is not a 2 either. So this is another FH. How am I going to break these FH? Well, I can, with the 6 telling me that this is a 4. So F is a 4, wherever I can find it. This is a 4. This is therefore an F. And that would help me quite a bit. I don't know if I need to do this with letters. I'm sure I can just do this as evens now. So 8. This was 4, I said. This was 2. This has to be 8. This has to be 4. This has to be 8. This 4 is either going with, excuse me. No, that's not what I meant to do. 2 or 8, and then again another 2 or 8. Don't know which one it is. What is going on here? That's an 8. That's a 4. We're already at 12. We need 2 numbers that add up to 8. 2 odd numbers, I should say, that add up to 8. We'll figure that out in a second. Without a 3 and a 1, I think this is forced as 157. Yep, 157. This is a 9. This is not a 1. So there's definite 1 in here. There's another 5, 7 with a 9 to complete the row. So this cage is not 2, 4, or 8. and it's not 6, so this is odd. We need 8, and it's got to be somewhere in here because of this 8, so that's odd as well. 8 is in one of these two cells. We'll figure that out in a moment. I'm just trying to see if we can complete the color so that we can move on. This is odd because the only even digit that's missing in here is a 6. That's not a 6. That's not a 6. Only place for a 6 is in here. That's our 6. This is odd. We've got 5 odds now. This is even. This is now 4, 6, or 8, except that's not a 6. That's not a 4. Kind of, almost. I'm just trying to see if we can finish coloring, and not really. It's sort of proving quite tricky for me. Am I going to have to carry on thinking about cages, etc.? So 4 in here, needs to be 8 in there. You know, it could be 1 with a 7. Could also be 3 with a 5, seemingly. So this is another 1, 3 that we just didn't catch earlier. Come on, Sleuth, we've got this. I'm sure we do. So this is 2, 4, 8. In fact, this is just 4, 8 because we've got a 2 in here. This is any of the 3, unfortunately. Can I not figure this out? If this is an even digit, both of these would be 4. And I generally don't see the problem with that. Just means it'll be a 4 in here, there are 4s there, and there is a 4 here. So I don't see an issue. This is 2, 6, or 8. Maybe you're not meant to be able to color this entirely just yet. And what I should do is just focus on a bit of classic Sudoku for a moment. And I think that's what I will do. So we've done the 13 cage, we've done the 10 cage, the 20 cage surely is the next clue. This can't be 1 or 3, that's quite helpful. So to get to 8, my options are 5, 7 with 1, 3, except this cell can't be a 3, so it's only really 1 and 7. That's 1, 7. 7. This is a 5, 9 pair. How are we doing for time? 23 minutes. 1, 1, 1. That's the only place for a 1. 1s are lining up. This has to be an odd digit. That is a 1. Only place for it. 3s are quite restricted now, but not enough. So this is 5, 7, 9, except that's not a 7. One of these is a 7. This is therefore another 5, 9 to complete the row. In here, I need 3, 5, 9 with a definite 3. This 1 is helpful. That's a 1. That's not a 1. This is the only place for a 1. This is 5, 7 now. This is 7, 8, which I can't disambiguate yet. This is 3, 5, 9. With a 5 and a definite 3. Right, what can we get from some of these things? 1. Still not cracked this. One of these is a 1. 1, that's a 1. Therefore that's a 7 to make sure it adds up to an 8. I think that will be huge. Famous last words. This is 3, 5, or 9. It's not a 3. It is a 5, 9. The 5 9s line up. That gives me a 3. That's not a 3. This is another 5, 9. In here are, well, I definitely need a 3. See, as that can still be a 3, because that can be a 6. So I still don't know which of these is a 3. And I don't know which of these are 3s. I don't know which of these are 3s. So it's not quite the break I'm looking for. I just need to keep looking a bit harder, really. Are any of these lining up? So we've got 5 and 7, so we're missing 3 and 9. The 9 clearly has nothing to do with the black Kropki dot. The 9 has to be down here. So that's a 5. That's, whoops. Nope, nope, nope. That's a 9. That's a 5. 5, 9. That's not a 9, that's a 9. This is 5, 7. This is now 3, 5, 7. With a definite 3. Have I not got this cell? I haven't got either of them. The fact that this is a definite 9 isn't enough. Right. Just rethinking my clues one more time. I've used these. I think these are indeed, have I done this correctly? Yeah, 8 and 12. So that is all the numbered cages. So I need to focus now entirely on classic Sudoku and the black Kropki dot. And I'm kind of just surprised I haven't actually solved this black Kropki dot. How do I kind of solve this? Here is something. I've got 4 even digits. I don't know why it took me so long. That's an 8. That's odd. That's even. That's not an 8. And it's not 2 or 8, mind you. And it's 4 even digits. That is 4 or 6. And it can't be a 4 because that would require another 2 or 8, both of which are not available. This is indeed 6, 3. That's not a 6. That's even, sorry, odd now. That's another 3. That's not a 3. Don't know which one is which, but we've got 2, 8. We essentially have a 4, 9 pair in here now, which gives me an 8, 8, 6, and 4. Now, how is that helping me? 5 is now looking at this 5, 7. I was probably looking at that earlier. This is definitely a 3 now. There is no 7s in here. That's the 7. That's a 5, 9 pair again. That 7 is not down here. That's not a 7. That's another 7. These 5 9s are all looking to line up. That's not a 7. That's just a 3. We've got 5, 7, 9. Only place for a 7 is there. This is another 5, 9. And yeah, we can start unwinding this quite a bit. 5, 9, 7, 5, 9, 5, 9, 5, 9, 5. Not 7 or 5, not 5 or 7. It is a 3. This is a 5. This is a 7. We're at finishing line now. 4, 9. That's the last set of colors, surely. Surely. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's odd. That's even. And we can wrap it up from here. 8, 7, 8, 2, 8, 2. And if I've not made any mistakes, 4 for the finish. What another phenomenal puzzle. Blobz, absolutely worthy of the 95% rating. I mean, once you catch on to the fact that, the black Kropki dots, and to be fair, it's in the name. There are very few clues given that just sort of suggests anything else that you should be looking at. It is quite easy to solve it from here. You just need to be very systematic with your letters, your Kropki dots, your colors. And for some reason, I was just a bit slower today spotting, 5 blues, therefore it's 4 evens, etc. But absolutely phenomenal puzzle. And I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. And certainly the puzzle, I absolutely loved it. And have a look at some other parity puzzles that YouTube's going to recommend to you next. Bye-bye for now.